The night turned into unseasonably heat as the remaining rays of the solar dipped under the horizon, leaving a gentle glow that lingered like the aftertaste of a wealthy wine. I was putting the desk for two, aligning each piece of silverware with meticulous care, a quiet birthday celebration of our 10th anniversary. Laura had texted earlier, her message brief, jogging overdue. "Store me a tumbler of the Merlot, her favorite." I opened the bottle, letting it breathe a fragrance, filling the room, mingling with the aroma of the roasted chook I had organized. It was perfect. The whole thing was perfect besides for the gnawing anxiety that had crept into my heart, uninvited and unwelcome over the past few months. The door clicked open, and there she turned into framed in the doorway. Her face flushed from what I believed was the frenzy to get home. "Sorry I'm late, darling," Laura referred to as out her voice, a melody that still managed to quicken my pulse in any case these years. I smiled, looking her approach, her hands behind her again. We're given something for you," she announced, a twinkle in her eye that seemed to mild up the dimming room. She presented me with a small, elegantly wrapped field. "Satisfied anniversary to my one and best," she whispered, leaning in to kiss me. My arms worked via the wrapping heart, fluttering with a combination of anticipation and dread. The box changed into familiar, too familiar. Because the lid came off there, it became a sleek silver watch, its face glowing under the kitchen lighting fixtures engraved at the again, the words "to my one and handiest," a pause hung inside the air, heavy and uncomfortable. "It's lovely, Laura," but I hesitated, the words catching in my throat as cognizance dawned. "You gave me this watch 2 years ago for Christmas." Her face fell, the color draining from her cheeks. "I what? No, that can't be proper." I must have, however, I was already moving, retrieving the twin from my wardrobe, the engraving identical, the implication plain. Lara's eyes widened the gears, turning the facade crumbling. "Tom, I'm able to explain what is there to provide an explanation for the coldness in my voice." Amazed even me, "Who were you buying this for, Laura?" "It wasn't for me, who's he?" She opened her mouth, closed it, tears brimming. "Tom, please know," the finality in my tone. "Brooke. No argument, I don't know who you are anymore." Turning away, I felt something inside me snap the accept as true with the love, it all turning to ash the night that turned into supposed to have a good time. A decade of US marked the revelation of her betrayal. But this was simply the start. As she pleaded, her words falling on deaf ears, I knew what I had to do. The muse of our lifestyles collectively became built on lies, and I would dismantle it piece by using piece. I watched her leave that nighttime. The closing door. A gentle echo of the finality of my selection. The revenge that simmered in my veins turned into clean and targeted. The unwinding of Lyra's double lifestyles had just begun. The morning after a shattered anniversary, the sky was a slate mirroring the hurricane, brewing within me. I sat on the kitchen desk, the two identical watches laid out before me, a stark reminder of Laura's duplicity. Every tick in their hands was a tick towards her, a countdown to the unraveling I had planned. My phone buzzed, a message from Laura, her phrases pleading for a hazard to explain. I examined it, deleted it, and blocked her variety. There could be no clean absolution, no longer this time. First, I wanted records pulling my laptop in the direction of me. I started scouring through our bank statements and credit card statistics. I was looking for something out of the everyday, any purchase or withdrawal that could lead me to her mystery lifestyles. It didn't take long there. It turned into a series of prices from a boutique inn within the metropolis, all made while Laura had told me she changed into journeying her sister in the suburbs. The deceit was now not just emotional. It was financial. Fueled with the aid of a chilling resolve, I grabbed my keys and drove to the inn. The lobby turned into plush, designed to provide discretion as much as comfort, an ideal venue for clandestine meetings. I approached the front desk, my heart pounding, my jaw set. "True morning," I started, my voice calm, regardless of the tempest internal. "I need to look the room records for Laura Moore. I consider she's been a guest right here several instances." The clerk hesitated, eyeing me warily. "I am sorry, sir, however, that statistics is personal." I leaned in, my tone company. "I assume you'll find it is for your fine interest to cooperate." Sliding an envelope across the counter filled with sufficient cash to loosen tongues. I watched, because the clerk's resistance melted. Minutes later, I used to be armed with dates and times. Laura had indeed been here often, and usually the reservation became for two. Lower back in my car. I dialed the number of a non-public investigator. I need the entirety you may discover on my spouse. Laura Moore. Comply with her music, her telephone, get me pics. I want to know who she's assembly where, and when the PI turned into a gruff voice, pro and unshaven. You'll have what you want in 48 hours. Maintain your cell phone close. As I drove away from the motel, the pieces of Lara's betrayal slotting together in my mind, my thoughts shifted from shock to strategy. The reality changed into a weapon, and that I intended to wield it without mercy. That night, as I sat alone inside the darkened living room, the PI's first batch of photos arrived. They confirmed Laura, unmistakable in her elegance, coming into a downtown rental with a person tall, dark-haired. Laughing at something, she stated, my heart clenched now, not in ache now, but in bloodless, hard dedication. I revealed the pics, my plan taking shape. Lara's social and expert smash would be thorough. Her lover, whoever he turned into, would share in her downfall because the printer word, every other piece of the puzzle clicked into vicinity. This was now not pretty much retribution. It turned into about reclaiming my lifestyles from the lies that had entwined it. The typhoon interior me had now not abetted, however now it was directed, controlled. Tomorrow I might confront her, the evidence in hand. The next day, the following phase of her unraveling would begin. The morning sun cast a sharp glare via the blinds cutting across the room where I sat. Every printed photo spread out before me, like a deck of betrayal. My fingers shook slightly, now not from worry, but from the adrenaline of drawing close disagreement. Today I might face Laura, armed with undeniable proof of her duplicity. My telephone vibrated sharply at the desk. It was the PI again, sending a closing batch of evidence, texts, emails, or even movies. Each piece changed into a hammer blow to the facade Lara had built round us. I stored the entirety to my PC, my virtual arsenal growing by the minute I drove to her rental, the only she had moved into after our separation. As I parked, my gut churned with a cocktail of anger and anticipation. I rehearsed what I might say, how I might scream my knowledge, imagining her response. Would she deny, plead? It failed to depend. I used to be past her reach. Now the door to her rental became ajar. After I arrived, I pushed it open, announcing my presence. Laura, we want to talk. She emerged from the kitchen, a mask of difficulty plastered over her wonder. Tom. I did not assume, I didn't permit her end. Spreading the photos and printouts at the nearest desk. I met her gaze with a steely calm. You've been busy. I said, my voice flat. Lara's eyes darted to the evidence, then again to me, a flicker of worry passing via them. Tom, please allow me give an explanation for what is there to explain. I interrupted, stepping closer. You lied, you cheated, you thought you may keep this hidden. I gestured to the damning array of evidence. Who's he? Laura. A person. From paintings, an antique flame. She sank into a chair, her composure cracking. He is no one, only a mistake. It intended nothing. I laughed, a short, harsh sound, a mistake that lasted over a year. It's a quite long time to preserve making the identical mistake. I'm sorry, Tom. She whispered, tears beginning to form. I by no means wanted to hurt you, but you probably did. Laura, you probably did. My voice softened barely, now not in forgiveness but in resignation. So what now you need? Forgiveness. Closure. Laura seemed up, her eyes purple. I simply want to transport on. Please, are we able to simply stop this peacefully? I shook my head, the photos in my hand rustling. Peace changed into never an alternative. After what you probably did. I got here to inform you that I am making the whole thing public, your friends, your family, your administrative center. They may all see who you genuinely are. Her face paled. You cannot. Please think of the repercussions, my profession, your career. I interrupted, incredulous. What about my existence? You grew to become it the other way up. I took a deep breath. My decision, company. It is too overdue. Laura, I've already dispatched the whole lot. The silence that observed changed into heavy, filled with the enormity of what changed into unfolding. Lyra's betrayal had been laid naked, and with it any danger of reconciliation vaporized. As I left her condo, the finality of the instant settled around me like a cloak. I had uncovered the lies, and in doing so I had freed myself. The direction beforehand might be fraught with challenges. However, for the first time in a long term, it became mine on my own to form. The days following my revelation felt like shifting via a fog, every moment tinged with the pride of retribution and the hollow ache of betrayal. I watched, as Laura's existence unraveled publicly, her her social media inundated with backlash, her expert recognition sullied beyond repair. The information of her affair and the calculated deception unfold like wildfire fueled through the scandal-hungry loads. I stored my distance looking at the destruction from afar, a detached part of me marveling at the chaos some nicely positioned truths should unleash. It wasn't lengthy before the opposite man, Daniel, changed into dragged into the limelight, his own lifestyles dissected and laid bare. His spouse left him his task, placed him on indefinite go-away. Consequences of being the alternative, a half of Lyra's duplicity. Then got here the night while the whole thing got here to a head. I was at a local bar, the air thick with the scent of stale beer and disillusionment. Once I noticed Daniel throughout the room, he spotted me too, his eyes narrowing as he made his manner over a typhoon brewing in his gaze. "Tom, we need to speak," Daniel stated, his voice low, annoying with slightly contained anger. I took a sip of my drink, ice clicking in opposition to the glass. "There may be nothing to speak. Approximately you and Laura made your choices. It is your fault. The entirety's come crashing down." His accusations sliced through the din of the bar, drawing curious appeals from close-by consumers. "Fault?" I sniggered darkly. "No, Daniel. I just uncovered the truth. You probably did the relaxation to your own." He grabbed my shirt, pulling me close. "You ruined my lifestyles." I'd driven him lower back, my own anger growing. "And what approximately my lifestyles did you reflect on consideration on me? Approximately what this will do to me?" My voice became a hiss, venom laced with each word. Protection changed into on us in seconds, pulling us apart before extra than shoves might be exchanged. Outside, the cool air did not anything to tamp down the warmth of my fury. Days turned into weeks. I watched as Laura and Daniel had become pariah, their transgressions, a scarlet letter they wore in every element in their lives. But as I watched Laura's downfall, a part of me couldn't get away the photo of her tears, the sound of her pleading. One nighttime as the sun dipped below the horizon portrayed the sky in colors of guilt and grief. I found myself outdoor anew, a great deal smaller rental. The remnants of my anger had ebbed, changed via a sombre readability. I knocked on her door. Laura spoke back, her eyes widening in wonder. "Tom, what are you doing here?" I met her gaze mine. Now not full of hatred but not quite forgiveness. "I got here to say 6 DCA 44B5 BB0 at 8 DSCF 5315 A 8 4 CCFBC Laura." For exact. This time she nodded, understanding the finality. "I'm sorry, Tom. In reality I am. I understand." I spoke back, and for a second the burden of our shared history pressed down on us. "I hope you discover happiness," she stated, her voice a whisper of our beyond. "I hope you locate peace." I lowered back as I walked away, the final ties that sure us frayed and snapped, lost within the whispering winds of alternate. I found out then that my revenge, even though cold and calculated, had not introduced joy, best a resolute closure to a bankruptcy nice left closed inside the solitude that accompanied. The best deception revealed itself, now not the betrayal of a cherished one, however the phantasm that vengeance ought to heal a broken heart. As I moved ahead, the lesson was clean. The only path to actual freedom became letting cross, no longer keeping on to the bitterness of the past, and with that recognition I eventually discovered the strength to begin anew, the echoes of betrayal fading into a hopeful silence.